So I'm going to tell you what is arguably the hardest part about working on board cruise ships, because it is something that is going to affect you before, during, and even after your contract is finished and you finally return home. It's also something that is rarely talked about, if it is at all. By the way, my name is Jay and welcome to my channel, Jay the Nomad. I am a professional breakdancer, acrobat, and I have two YouTube channels. There is this one, and then I have a bigger channel called the Shiplife that is solely dedicated to the cruise ship industry. Now, before we get started, guys, I do want to let you know that mess back there is not normally there. It's laundry day. I'm getting ready to head to Alaska in a couple days, so I'm figuring out what I'm going to take and what I need to go shopping for, and then I got to figure out what I'm throwing away. Anyway, I know it's a mess, but just bear with me. Don't look back there. But also, I do want to let all of you know that this series here that I'm going to have here on this channel with me working on cruise ships, it is going to kind of be, well, all over the place, because there are going to be times where I want to sit down and talk and just give you guys information. There's other times where I want to give you, a little bit of action. But I do promise I will always do my best to give you the most value as possible in terms of entertainment and/or information. So the hardest part about working on board cruise ships is something that you could probably assume. It is being away from home. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into that. Like, for example, whenever you typically get a cruise ship offer to work on board a ship, your contract offer kind of comes last minute. There are times when you apply and you wait months and months and months. They call you, ring, and then they tell you you got 2 weeks to pack your bags and get ready to go on a ship for 6 to 9 months. It can be very hectic, and that extra time that you think you have to spend time with friends and family and get everything allocated and organized for you to leave and come back, well, it goes by really quick, and that's something that I want to talk about here in this video. So there is somewhat of a mental space you kind of have to put yourself into prior to even getting on board the cruise ship. Why? Because you are getting ready to leave your friends and families and loved ones, apartment, your dog named Fluffy for 6 to 9 months. And honestly, at times, especially if it's your first time doing so, it's not an easy task to complete because, well, this is your home. So for you to be away from there, even though I'll be honest with you, there is a positive to this. One, you are getting ready to travel, and I'm somebody that is a big advocate for travel. I believe travel is the greatest teacher, better than any formal education you could ever get. However, you're also going to be around people that are essentially going to become your extended family. You guys are going to make lots of memories and have crazy experiences together. But let's be honest, it's also not the same as being home. Now, you also have to take into consideration that 6 months may not seem like a lot, but just to put it into perspective for you, I'm getting ready to leave here in May. I start my contract on May 27th, and I don't come back until December 3rd. So basically for me, 2022, as far as me having free plans to do what I want, is essentially up if you really think about it. Now, to be honest with you, this is not a bad thing by any means. If it was, well, I wouldn't be accepting a contract. And most of the people that don't necessarily have to work on cruise ships as their only option to make an income and put food on the table for their families, well, they understand full well. This isn't exactly my first rodeo. I've worked for 3 different cruise lines. Well, I will. 2 technically. I worked for NCL, and then I also did fly-ons with Carnival. So I never did a full, complete contract with them. But I was also working for a company called the Harlem Globetrotters for 6 years. I started out as a dancer for them. Then I was a stage manager, eventually an international tour manager. But the thing about those contracts in particular was for 6 years straight, every Christmas I had to leave because that's when our contract started. Now, just to also put this into perspective, I have a son too, so I literally every year for 6 years had to wake up early in the morning and go unwrap presents with my son, and then from there, no time for breakfast, it was straight over to the airport, and then I'd be gone for about 5 to 6 months. That was very difficult, and since we were in a different city every day, it was literally impossible for me to even see him unless my tour just happened to come over to Tampa. So I had to put myself in the mentality that, you know what, this is going to be for the better. I'm going to be a better human, a better father in myself because I'm traveling and I'm seeing the world. And again, there's so many things that you can gain out of it. And I'm also somebody that believes that you have to live your life and do what is going to make you happy at the end of the day. Live, learn, grow. And I do believe traveling, whether it be on a cruise ship or anywhere for that matter, is definitely going to help you in your journey in life. I just realized how deep all of that was. I do apologize, but I think it's necessary. This is somewhat of a serious topic that a lot of people either don't ever talk about, or it's something that a lot of people don't really ever admit. Now, another big factor, and I would say sometimes can be complications and problems that will occur, is when you are gone from anywhere from 6 to 9 months, people don't forget about you per se, but they do learn to somewhat live without you because you are not there. Your mom, your dad, your friends, they can't be sad all the time. You yourself can't be sad all the time. So you guys learn to just kind of, suck it up, deal with it. But the problem with that is on the back end for the person that is gone. You as a person, let's say you're working on a cruise ship, or me, for example, I then have to come back home and essentially play catch up. I got friends that are married, and I got friends that are moving and what have you, new jobs. And it can be extremely overwhelming, and it's hard to adjust even when you get back home. So like I said, this is something that does affect you before your contract, during, and even after. Now, I'm not going to make this video too long, but I do want to leave off with this life lesson that I've learned and has helped me somewhat adapt to being able to do these contracts and be able to leave my home for extended periods of time. So this happened, I want to say, over 10 years ago, back when I got my contract to work for the Harlem Globetrotters. A lot of people were asking me, how could you leave your son? That doesn't bother you? It doesn't affect you? Heck yes, it did. It broke my heart to even consider something like that and being away from my family for such a long time. However, I did accept. I bit the bullet and said, you know what, worst comes to worst, I can talk to my boss and go home if I needed to. I didn't plan on doing so, but push came to shove, the option was definitely there. But when I got to the tour, I was the only person there with one kid. And it's the same with a cruise ship. You'll get there and you'll see people from all walks of life. People, moms, dads, people that have families that are sick. And here they are on this adventure, on this journey. And honestly, it is probably for the better. It is a good development point in your life for you. It's like somebody working in the hospitality industry. It's something that I believe everybody should honestly do. So like I said, I'm not trying to get too deep into this, but like I said, I believe this is a very serious topic that a lot of people have to take into consideration whenever they're deciding if they're going to work on a cruise ship or really any kind of tour, or just be away for long extended periods of time. Now, I'm going to leave off with this. There was a guy, he was a recruiter for the Harlem Globetrotters back when I worked for them. His name was Al Clocker. And he told me once that nobody that is sane is doing what we're doing. And he meant it in the most positive way, meaning that it's always the crazy people that end up, or people that are perceived to be crazy, that end up having the best adventures in life, the best life journeys, and often, to be honest with you, ends up being the most successful. They could end up being rich, and that could mean rich with money, yes, monetary value, but that could also mean rich in love and life experiences. So again, guys, you take this how you want. I know, like I said, this whole conversation is not exactly just me getting set to work on board a cruise ship, but these are processes and things that I think about prior to even getting on board a ship, because it does help me overall for my contract and getting the most out of it that I absolutely can. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it right here, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know in the comment section below. This is my new channel, so make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll be trying to upload at least for this foreseeable future every other day, maybe even every day, depending on how time restraints are. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.